Hey everybody, welcome to the PixelBlips podcast for June 9th, 2013. I'm Andy Ryan. My birthstone's a Chaos Emerald. Joining me as always is the Biggs the Cat of co-hosts, Dave DeWart. Dave,
I don't even like to fish.
what have you been playing this week?
So I got a buddy at work who wanted to try WoW because I have like 3 guys that I work with that play it. So I was like, all right, I'll do a recruiter friend thing. He bought it, so I got a free month. So I've been playing the World of Warcraft Mist of Pandaria expansion. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's just with like this ancient Chinese flair.
I imagine.
So it's kind of neat. The pandas are chunky and they bounce around.
Can you kind of see how that wasn't the savior of WoW that
The pandas?
that Blizzard thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Or Activision, I should say.
Well, whatever. And they still got one more expansion. I think BlizzCon's this year. So,
Yeah.
And since they reset Titan, now they've got at least 4 more years of WoW to have to put up on. So we're not going to get a free-to-play WoW for at least 2 more years.
Wasn't the free-to-play up to like level 20?
It is, but I mean like a full-on, here you can play all the content for free, like Rift and Terra and all that.
Yeah.
So I've been playing...
RPG, I know.
It's an MMO. Yeah, you're not an MMO player. You played...
Final Fantasy 14 maybe.
When it comes out,
when Realm Reborn comes out on the PS3, I'll probably...
Is it free? Or is it going to have a subscription to it?
I don't know yet. I know that you have to buy the disc.
Okay, so you're going to have to pay at least $50 to $60 for it.
Yeah.
That's not too bad though. I mean, and they could sell that as $50 on the store or whatever. So I've been playing that, and then I've also been playing a tablet game called Puzzles and Dragons. It's kind of like a match 3 game mixed with Pokemon, mixed with like the original Elder Scrolls, where you go into these dungeons and you just like move down a little bit. So, I remember the original Elder Scrolls being like first person, but you had all the stuff down here.
Arena wasn't like that. You're thinking of Eye of the Beholder.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Or
it's
Ultima Underworld.
Yeah, it's a dungeon crawler mixed with Pokemon mixed with a match 3 game.
That's cool.
So
it's not Quiz and Dragons from the early '90s by Capcom.
I don't think so. No.
There's no trivia questions about King Griffey Jr.
The one thing that's really like with the match 3 aspect of it is you can the gyms that you switch don't have to be adjacent to each other, so you can basically drag one from here and over here, and you have a party of 5 monsters, and the color of the gym determines whether or not your green monster attacks versus your yellow monster. Blah 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 blah. So
Interesting.
it's kind of neat. It's a good free little iPhone Android game, so it's a good way to kill some time when you're sitting in an airport and all you got is your phone.
Yeah. Cool.
So what you been up to?
I've been playing, continuing my playthrough of the classic Ratchet and Clank games. So playing Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal.
Are you playing the HD ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll probably go back and dig out Size Matters on my PSP and Secret Agent Clank.
Oh yeah. Because you still have your PSP.
I do. Anyway, so Up Your Arsenal, I feel like, is the first Ratchet and Clank game where the modern set where like you can tell they had the formula down. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like the humor is good. The upgradable weapons are in there. There's multiple upgradable levels to each weapon. Whereas like Going Commando had the upgradable weapons, but you can only like upgrade them once.
Yeah.
And then like after in the new game plus mode you can upgrade them again, but
it was very limited.
Yeah.
The weapon upgrade system was limited.
And in Up Your Arsenal, they're like I don't know if every weapon has 5 levels, but most weapons have 5 levels, like in the new Ratchet and Clank games and stuff.
And now is that you spin bolts on them that you find, or is it just as you use them?
That's how you upgraded them in the first game.
Okay.
Now you just upgrade them as you use them.
Okay.
So
the more you use the combustor, the more it turns into the super combustor or whatever.
So now I'll get like a new weapon and then I'll use it until it upgrades all the way. The hardest weapon for me to upgrade is the whip because I just don't usually use for
melee weapons.
Yeah. Even though the whip is kind of a mid-range, it's a lot...
Because it's,
there's a lot more range than your wrench, but at the same time, it's just kind of like...
Doesn't it... Now, maybe I'm getting it confused, because I think I've played Crack in Time. It was one of the PS3 ones.
Crack in Time.
Is the whip, like, electrified, so it can, like, stun enemies if you hold on to it? So the range... Would that be an upgrade that happens...
No.
Like, the stun is longer, or the range gets longer?
Yeah, the stun is longer.
Okay.
But there's also, like the rocket launcher's upgrade is not only is it a rocket launcher, once it hits somebody, it shoots out mines around them.
Oh, that's cool.
To kind of stun everyone else in the area. So the upgrades are really fun in the fact that they add a lot of stuff.
And then,
to the different
you get all kinds of Ratchet and Clank chaos going on.
Yeah, and the game's funny.
It is.
So and they're always fun to play.
What I remember playing of Crack in Time and All for One was they're really funny games. Yeah. And I don't have a functioning PS2 anymore, so I might have to get the HD collection just to play some of those.
Up your arsenal, like if you if you came into it in the modern Ratchet and Clank era, the future era, like I would say up your arsenal is probably where you should start. Like
Okay.
the controls are the most similar to what they are now,
Okay.
and the upgrades are the most similar. But at
that's
the
on
same time, like they're all great games.
And is that one on the Vita also?
No.
Oh, which one's the one that they released on the Vita?
Oh, Full Frontal Assault, which is the tower defense
esque game.
MOBA-esque game.
Okay. Okay. I knew there was a Ratchet and Clank because I see it on the store. I just
And it's
didn't know
really
which one
fun.
it was. Okay.
Full Frontal Assault is fun both on the PS3 and on the Vita. The Vita version takes a few hits in the frame rate and graphical department just to get it on the Vita.
It kind of has to.
Yeah, but it's still very fun.
Okay.
But it's one of those games you have to play through the maps multiple times and the missions multiple times to get the weapons upgraded to where they need to be.
Oh, because you need to grind the XP out.
Yeah, you need to grind the XP out. Whereas like in the main Ratchet and Clank games,
it kind of just happens.
Yeah, the
playing
weapon
game.
upgrades are very natural.
Yeah.
In the normal game.
You don't have to like feel like you need to go back through this level to grind out the buzzsaw or whatever it was.
The thing that they added in Going Commando, which is back and up your arsenal, is the arena battles where you basically show up at like a sports arena and they'll be like, oh, here's the challenge this time.
Now you have to take out 10 guys in 20 seconds or something.
Stuff like that. And those things you use to grind bolts, which is the currency, and to grind those XP to upgrade those weapons.
Okay. Well, that's neat though.
So it's fun.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank's always been a fun series.
Yes.
The one when I played it anyway.
I want to see it at E3. I hope.
See the Ratchet and Clank launch game for the PS4?
Maybe. That would be my dream. There's definitely going to be a Ratchet and Clank game on the PS4. I just hope it comes sooner rather than later.
All right.
I didn't like waiting that first year for Tools of Destruction when I got my PS3.
Yeah. Well.
Speaking of E3.
Yes, and probably not much more out of Sony.
Yeah. So we're going to once again we're talking this week and last week's show. We're talking about our
expectations.
Looking forward to predictions also for the two press conferences at E3.
Well, the two that are the big ones with new consoles coming out.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have
platform holder.
You have EA and you have a Konami one today, right?
Konami already went.
Konami was today. Okay, so now
no, it was Friday, I think.
Okay, so you got a Konami one.
The new Castlevania. They had Kiefer Sutherland's the voice of Solid Snake. Or actually, I think he's probably the voice of Naked Snake, given like the very loose timeline that Hideo Kojima has set up for Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and Ground Zeroes. Like those are both two different parts of one game. He is the voice in The Phantom Pain, and I think
Hader's coming back to do the other one.
We don't know yet, and that's kind
maybe
of the rumor. But I think Kiefer Sutherland would be a good voice actor for Snake.
I mean, yeah, that
he
would
has
work.
the gruff down.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, if you've been playing Metal Gear Solid as long as you have, you get used
like
to the way
used to David
that the Snake has sounded since Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
So,
but once again, like I don't.
It's not going to deter you from playing the game.
I made this point on a message board. Like I don't play a game to listen to the voiceover.
No, you could just as easily turn the voiceover off or put it in the Japanese voiceover and not care.
Oh. Yeah. So. Yeah. No biggie. But there's been other press conferences so far. Anyway, so the two platform holders. So last week we did Sony. This week we're doing Microsoft. We're not doing Nintendo because Nintendo's not having a platform press conference. Once again, we will talk about Nintendo and what they did at E3 post E3.
Yeah.
So after next week. And we're going to record a longer show after E3, break it up over a couple episodes, and we'll be updating those at random times throughout the week.
Yes.
You won't have to wait as long as you did last year. And once again, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, that would be next week's show.
Well,
roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because E3 was earlier in the
Yeah.
calendar year last year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Microsoft. So Microsoft kind of headed us off at the pass.
They just buried us in information, but none of it's the stuff that we wanted to hear.
I had originally planned like this whole speech about how I just wanted Microsoft to answer questions. Like you can't just show us games now because
You've given us all the stuff and we still don't know, hey, how is this system going to work with games? And how is the system, you know, what's the backwards compatibility?
Thursday or Wednesday, one of these days, they released a press release on their website.
It was 3 different pages. Like 3 different pages on their website was about how the Kinect will, how you can limit the Kinect's use of information.
Yep.
How you can,
you can't turn the mic on the Kinect off, so it's always listening. But while you're using the Xbox, you can tell the Kinect audio to pause. Which I was like, well, that's great, but it doesn't solve the fact that I don't really want it always listening.
Well, then it would only be listening for like a Kinect Play or something like that. Like I use something like that at work where you tell the system to stop listening and then it will It won't react to anything you say except for one key phrase. So that's technology that's been around for a while. And if that's how that works, then you just say, Xbox off, Xbox pause, and then it won't, or whatever it is you have to say. And
I still think having the requirement that Kinect has to always be connected to the system is a bad idea. Because this whole press release just like painted a giant target on Microsoft's back for hackers.
Yeah, well, sort of. But, the Kinect camera is always, you can shut the camera off, right? Like, you don't need the camera on all the time, you just need the audio.
Yeah, but it always needs to be plugged in.
Yes, it does.
So, like, someone could hack it, supposedly.
Theoretically,
someone could hack into an Xbox One and watch your living room. Now, granted, I'm one of these people that, like...
So you just throw a drape over it and...
Well, 99% of everything is, like, the security of why would someone bother to do that, so...
Some people are just crazy and will do that. So, okay, we said always has to connect to the internet at least once every 24 hours.
At least once every 24 if it's your home console. Now, if you're connected...
If you're at a buddy's house and you're playing games...
And you sign into your profile, it has to be connected once every hour.
Yeah, it has to connect once an hour. And I forget what the third one was. The third thing that they were talking about.
Used games.
Oh, yeah, the used games. And that's all publisher side, right? Like, they have the system in place and the publishers want to use it.
It's basically Microsoft realized they stepped in a hornet's nest and are now punting it back to the publishers.
Yes. Well.
Which I think is stupid. And once again, we talked about before that Microsoft having these trusted retail partners that will have some sort of box that you can throw the disc in that will wipe the licenses clean off of it is a problem. Because if those things cost money, if they cost upkeep, all these things that they probably
if it's a physical thing, it will cost you something, and it will cost upkeep, and it will, you'll have to...
Depending on the pricing of those...
Have a license for it.
Whether or not GameStop gets preferential pricing, The best case scenario is if you own a mom and pop game shop, you just sign up for this service with Microsoft, and they send you a free one.
Yeah.
And then they charge GameStop for the ones that they sell GameStop. In bulk. That's the best case scenario for this. But it's still going to harsh a lot of mom and pop game shops out of it. Basically, Microsoft did a really weird kind of ninja jujitsu with the used game market where they've basically protected GameStop and regional retailers and thrown private sellers, people on eBay, people on Craigslist, even like you to me, and they've really thrown those people under the bus. Yeah, well, and said,
and the way that
which from a publisher standpoint, I would be like, that's not what I cared about. I cared about the freaking $558 million that GameStop made from used games this past quarter.
Reselling copies of Battlefield, and Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, and stuff like that.
As a publisher, I'd be like, that's what I care about. I don't care about this other thing.
Yeah, Timmy selling his game collection on Craigslist is not what he cares about.
Yeah. Which Timmy won't be able to sell his game.
Well, he won't be able to sell his Xbox One game
collection.
He'll have to take them to a Microsoft store or a Best Buy or a GameStop or a Game or an EB Games.
And this whole thing reeks of, especially the connecting 24 hours to keep everything updated and check licenses, reeks of Microsoft doesn't trust you.
Well,
Microsoft is just assuming you're all pirates.
That's how PC gamers have felt for years.
I know, and that's
but you know what?
That's you guys. You guys are pirates. We're console gamers. We're the good people.
As these systems become more and more PC-like.
You're the neckbeards. We're not neckbeards.
I've seen some console gamers.
I know. I've seen.
Anyway,
I saw a hilarious one the other day.
That whole situation is, as these systems become more and more PC-like, it will be easier and easier for people to break them and be able to install games on them and never pay a dime. Right? All you got to do is download the ones and zeros and put it on your PS4 or your Xbox One. So this is just their way to protect publishers' investments and their investment with, games, because they're taking
literally stabbing their customers in the.
They are. They are.
And we're putting the onus on you guys because you're all stealing stuff, even though you're not.
Well,
even though it's funny because when you think about an Xbox
One, how do you punish the guy that you don't know did the crime? You punish everybody.
Well, yeah.
And
here's the thing, if Xbox One gets cracked and people pirate Xbox One games, that's not going to matter.
No.
Because Microsoft won't be able to connect to those boxes.
Yeah, they
won't be able to authenticate those games. And it'll be like the first Xbox where there was this whole shadow Xbox Live system set up. people were cracking their Xboxes all over the place.
And you could do that with the PS2. I mean,
because it was just
and the
easier.
PS1s were easier to crack too. It's just just.
But this authentication thing that's great. Microsoft, like, once they figure out how to set up a shadow Xbox One Live
servers. Well, and then that might be difficult. There might be stuff server side that they have zero access to or very little access to. And whatever. We're kind of getting way off topic, but
we're
still talking about Microsoft.
This is what the thing is Microsoft came out, and it's a brilliant PR move. In my PR classes, we call it pulling off the Band-Aid, because when you have bad news that is going to be received badly, you do it before you do anything else. You literally rip the Band-Aid off, get it done, deal with the blowback, and then move forward.
And then you have your big press conference at E3, and you show off all this cool
show off
stuff.
Like, hey guys, I know we're gonna.
We got all this bad stuff, but hey, look at all this that you get.
You have to connect once every 24 hours. You don't actually own any of your games. They're all licenses. All this horrible stuff, which they actually won't say, but they'll be like, hey dudes, Halo. And everyone will be like, oh, yeah, Halo.
Yeah, new Halo. Call of Duty gets exclusive content for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's PR stuff. And once again, when we talked about the Xbox One announcement, that if I were their PR person, I would be fired. And if I were the person in charge of their PR, I would be fired. And if I were the person that had anything to do with their PR, I would be fired. Because the pulling off the Band-Aid, you have to do it well before. Pulling off the Band-Aid has to be in like a wasteland of stuff.
And the problem with when they announced the system,
the window for pulling off the Band-Aid was very small, and now we're at that tail end of that window. And the funny thing is, right before they pulled off the Band-Aid, they sent out bulk emails to everyone that had all the press that had an interview with an Xbox exec, and said it was canceled. So like. Klepic, like GameSpot, everybody like got all these emails that were like, "Hey, we know you signed up to talk to Don Matrick, but he's not going to talk to you now.
So here's this instead."
No, it was basically they said not here's this instead. They were just like, he's just not going to talk to you. And then like 20 or 30 minutes later, probably more than that, this thing broke, and it was like, oh yeah, no wonder you guys don't want to talk to us.
Because people are going to rip him to shreds, and it's going to be the same 10 questions over and over again. So. Yeah. But so after all this bad stuff that we've heard about for the past probably 3 weeks or so,
I mean,
and then
really,
more intensely in the past couple days.
The bad stuff was all speculation,
and now it's real.
Like everyone's like, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like that doesn't mean it's not shitty.
No, it doesn't mean it's not bad, but for all we know, Sony's got the same stuff in the works, and they just haven't said anything about it yet.
Which, if you go back to last show, that's one of the things we said they have to say.
They have to say something.
Which, poor Sony. If Sony just built like a normal PlayStation like they normally build, that you can do used games, you can do everything fine, and just did not think this would be a question.
Well, they've said that it doesn't ever need to connect to the internet.
Yeah, they're like it doesn't need to be connected to the internet, and it will play used games. And like now everyone's asking like, well, what's Sony's thing? Like, well, Sony's probably just the same thing they were before. And they don't know that they now need to articulate that.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of like if Ford built a Mustang that had jets that ran in water, and someone went to the Corvette and say, "Well, does your Corvette run in water?" The Corvette people would be like, "No, why would it? Like,
why don't?" That makes no sense.
So Microsoft, what they need to show us at E3 and what they're going to show us at E3 are two different things.
Yeah.
They need to show us. They're going to show us games.
They're going to have to, because they showed us almost nothing at their presser.
Like they're going to show us what Halo people are up to. You'll see a Halo teaser. You'll see what Rare's up to. I still don't think it's going to be Killer Instinct.
I don't think it'll be Killer Instinct either, but
one can dream. As we're getting closer to it, I'm like, it's Banjo-Kazooie something or other, or Grabbed by the Ghoulies 2, or...
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they tried the Banjo-Kazooie thing with, was it Nuts and Bolts or whatever, and it just didn't take off like they wanted it to.
Perfect Dark, Viva Pinata is something.
It could be. A new Viva Pinata would be awesome, I guess.
Well, like, people getting their hopes up for Killer Instinct. Here's the two things. I will be totally shocked and wonderfully surprised if it's a Killer Instinct. I will be totally shocked and wonderfully surprised if Sony doesn't have any sort of DRM, check-in online used game stuff. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're definitely going to see tons of games.
Yeah, and you'll see games from partner publishers, EA, Activision, that will
have exclusives content for that system.
Air quotes, yeah. Will be better on Xbox One, air quotes.
Yeah, well,
Whether that's being able to bark orders at the dog in Call of Duty Ghosts through the Kinect, which they've said you can do.
Which is great. You know, you can go, hey, Wolfie, go get that guy.
Sit, play dead.
Yeah. Sniff bombs.
I can look at my dogs and be like, look, that one listens. Why don't you guys?
Yeah. Train your dogs using the Call of Duty Ghost dog.
Yeah, it's a good model. Anyway, so you'll see a lot of that stuff. You'll see like what FIFA and Madden and all this stuff that were rumored that they like talked about special preferential treatment at the announcement event. I think you'll actually see what that stuff is.
Yeah, and you know we'll probably see. Maybe not another. We might see a new hardware revision for the 360. There's that rumor that there's that $99 Xbox that plays games, all this and that.
Well, I think you'll definitely get price cuts for
the
both
360
the PS3 and the 360, and I think those price cuts will put them down in the 150 range.
Which would, you know, that's
you won't see a new
that's
hardware.
not
out of
quite
Sony
impulse
because,
buy, but
you won't see a new hardware out of Sony because we just did.
Yeah, well, you'll see the box for the PS4.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about like a redesigned PS3, but you'll probably see a redesigned, smaller Xbox, I would imagine.
Yeah, and you know,
Xbox 360. God damn it, we have to start making that.
You'll see we'll just say 360. People know what you're talking about. So we'll see the small 360, and you know, hopefully there'll be some interaction, like the possibility of it working with the Xbox One in tandem. You know, you'll plug in a USB and an HDMI into it, and you can play your Xbox 360 games through your Xbox One.
But there's only one HDMI input, so where you're going to plug your Pico
box
into?
They make HDMI splitters, right?
So what you're going to do is it's the new Xbox 360 is going to have HDMI in that you will only use if it's hooked up to the Xbox One, and you'll basically hook an HDMI into your cable box.
You'll daisy chain HDMI.
It'll be like those days when we remember when Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo first came out, and you would have like your RF adapters lined up, and you would just like turn on the system that needed to work at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you still have that setup, kind of.
Well, but I have a video switcher, but
it's the same deal.
Yeah, basically. It was very, very weird. But I think you'll see something like that.
That would be really awesome to see. Like, as they're, you know, we're sorry there's no backwards compatibility with this thing, but you can still use your 360 with the Xbox One, and they might sell some weird adapter to do your cable box through your current 360. They're going to show off more smart glass stuff, right? They're going to be like, this is how the smart glass works.
I want to see that. Remember when smart glass was announced, remember we had that app where they were like, you'll be able to do play map outs in Madden.
Yeah.
And when I saw that on smart glass, I was like, that's
pretty awesome.
That's genius because like ever since Tech Mobile,
you've been wanting to do that.
You can't pick your play privately.
And you could kind of do that with the Dreamcast controller, like it had
the move.
Yeah, when you played with like Blitz, they had the little 9 space grid in there, and you would just be like, and you just figure out how to make that disappear. And, the second screens have kind of done that for a while, but being able to like map out custom plays on the fly would be really neat for Madden and whatnot.
And to see how smart glass works with games and works well with games, because a lot of the smart glass integration that we've seen has been like works with a game, but is very ancillary to playing that game.
You don't really need it.
It's like data logs, it's like schematics and other stuff that you don't really need.
Or inventory management, stuff like that.
Me and this guy I work with were talking about, I was like, you know what? On that second screen bullshit, I want the mini map.
Yeah.
Because I can never see it in the corner of the screen.
Yeah, it's always a very tiny circle or square.
I need more mini map. So let's get that working.
I believe that's how Arkham City worked on the Wii U, is the mini map and the headset stuff came through the controller.
That's cool.
So, that'd be kind of cool. Like, if you have your tablet set up in front of you with the controller in your hand, you can then use that for secondary information. Maybe you could customize that, right? Like, if you're playing, a driving game, you're playing Forza. That's right. That's the song. That's a Microsoft one, right?
Yes.
Forza. If you're playing Forza, that can either be your rear view mirror, that could be your dash, so that you don't have as much dash.
Not a rear view mirror.
You don't think that'd be a rear view mirror?
I
guess that would be a lot of data to go through.
And when they announced Remote Play for the PSP, they said in Ridge Racer you'll be able to use it as your rear view mirror.
And that hasn't.
And they tested it out internally, and they were like, "It's the worst idea we've ever had."
It is a bad idea.
Because instinctively, you don't look down to look in the rear view mirror. Look up. I was like, I could see like a speedometer or like having a constant readout of your RPMs and your shifter.
Yeah, I mean, that just to get that stuff off of the screen and down into another spot. But yeah, I guess that makes sense that being a rear view mirror would not be a good idea.
No. But stuff like that. So
the possibility. Now, I'm not saying that they're able to do this with all tablets, right? But like, if you had one of those Microsoft Surface tablets, could you maybe play your Xbox One games on that tablet with the thing so somebody else could watch TV?
I mean, everyone else is doing that, so.
So why not, right?
Yeah.
Like it's that would be their way to get you in on that. If you have one of those Microsoft Surface tablets, like it would be
Like
Surface
tablets
tablets
you set it up on
first.
the coffee table and you're sitting there looking at it with your controller. That'd be my.
And that way somebody else can play whatever, and you've got your headphones in. And,
yeah, that'd be good.
Or watch whatever.
That would be
I
cool
guess.
because like once again, that's the best thing about the Wii U, and everyone is stealing it now.
Well, yeah, but that's a really great idea. Like the PS4, that's one of the reasons why I'm probably getting one is because I can then use my Vita to play PS4 games, and I can move my PS3 into my office and play the games that I haven't got to play yet on it.
So what's as we get ready to wrap up here? What's one thing Microsoft can do that will make you unhappy? The one thing they should not do.
The one thing that they haven't already done that makes me unhappy?
Well, like they're already low. So what could make it worse?
What could make it worse? Them coming out and saying that
$59.99 American dollars.
no, like I don't know, like them saying them not changing Xbox Live at all. Like that's something that they need to do. That would piss me off more. Is like I have a 360, but I don't use it online because I don't want to pay the $60 a year.
So if they said it was,
If it's exactly,
is it 60?
it's
I always
either
get mixed up because PlayStation Plus
is
and
$50 if you
yeah,
pay for a year of it out front, and I think Xbox Live is $50 to $60.
And I hate people that say like it's only that if you don't get it on sale. Like, well, you know what, guys?
You shouldn't have to buy
shouldn't have to
online
buy it
on
on
sale.
sale.
I mean, you're paying twice for Hulu and Netflix
Yeah.
already.
Like the people that are like, oh, I haven't paid that much ever. Like, well, that's not entirely true because none of this stuff was on sale when you signed up for an Xbox.
Well, yeah.
Like if you bought it at
But you
launch,
probably got,
these weren't on sale.
well, no, but you probably got 3 months free or 5
Yeah.
months free. And people might buy 3 month subscriptions at a time. And you can do that. You can do that with PlayStation Plus. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You can buy.
The majority of users do not get it on sale.
No. And Amazon's always running those deals.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so if they don't change Xbox Live to at least, I'm not saying they need to give us free Xbox One games, right? Like I'm not saying that we need to get that as part of your Xbox Live Gold subscription, but I think they should change it so that you can play the online, you can,
You can play online without playing.
without having to pay $60 a year.
After a generation of Sony copying us, we're going to copy Sony.
Yeah. But yeah, so you get all your stuff for free base, and then it's like the exclusive content you get is you get early access to content from this game, this game, this game. You get preferential treatment when it comes to matchmaking, which that kind of sounds crappy, but if you're paying something, you might as well get something
paying
out of
stuff
it.
for Xbox Live right now is crappy.
Yeah, it is, and they still have points if you want to buy them. Although most of the games now are in money.
They're going to go to money, 100%.
They're going to have to, so they're getting rid of the
They've already
point
said
system. That's
that,
great.
yeah.
If they didn't change it and then they upped the cost, that would also piss me off. It's
like,
now
it's
now
now
$80.
$70.
It's now like $75, $80 a year.
It turns out you guys will pay for anything. We
Yeah.
also have canned air.
Yeah. So that and them coming out and just not. I don't know. There's just so much stuff Microsoft could do that would piss me off. But
Okay, well,
obviously, what are they going to do to piss you off?
for me,
Show up.
show up. No. Kind of. For me, the last, let's say, 5 E3s, all E3s of this generation, except for the world famous $59.99 giant enemy crabs, Ridge Racer debacle. Microsoft has always been the laughing stock of the E3 press conference, whether it's like, hey, here are 2 of the guys from the Beatles that are still alive to talk about
Rock band.
Beatles rock band. Like, here's 2 kids like mimicking what you would do with Kinect and going, ooh.
Well-
Here's what an Avatar shoe looks like.
Yeah.
So they always have these very huge gaffes.
Yeah, they have some pretty goofy moments that just make you go, what?
You
I mean,
know.
Sony does that too, and Nintendo has them as well.
Nintendo
right?
has them as well.
Like all
My
those,
body is ready.
the
but-
big 3, everybody kind of says stuff that just seems really weird once it
Yeah.
actually gets said.
Don Matrick, that's everything that I've ever heard come out of that man's mouth. Like, that doesn't...
If you think backwards compatibility is something that you need, then you were backwards.
But they've always had that. It's been funnier for me with Microsoft than it's been Nintendo because Microsoft has always had this hardcore gamer, cooler than cool.
Yeah, they're going for your
this
dude bros.
This super image, and then they get out there and they're like, "Here's Connect Disneyland," and 2 little kids going.
Hey, I mean,
And
bros have kids now.
I know. But like, what I'm saying is like,
See Fantasia.
Yeah.
Music evolved.
Xbox One title, and I bet you that's one of those 15 titles coming to the platform.
Well, it's also on the Xbox 360, so it's not an exclusive to the Xbox One.
Anyway, so like all these things that Microsoft has become known for in recent history of these huge gaffes.
Yeah.
No more of those.
Maybe
Like,
one.
Try to make it through with none. If you can try and make it through with none and you still sneak one or two in there, that's fine. But like, don't set up like the Forza guy coming on stage and the stage coming apart and there's a Lamborghini and he just steps out of the Lamborghini and is like, hey, new Forza game.
Duh.
Like, well, yeah, why is the car on? Like, doesn't make, like, I understand why the car's there because it's a Forza game, but you're not doing anything with the car. And like,
Well, you just have a mock-up.
it's like if Sony had their stage split apart and the dude from Polyphony Digital got out of an F1 racer, I'd be like, that's cool that the F1's racer there, but that's not why we're here.
Yeah, no, we don't. Most people don't care about. Well, I don't. We don't care about racing games, so that's something that we're just gonna look at and go.
I mean, or like having Ice Cube come out. Or it's
Yeah.
Ice Cube? No, Ice T.
Yeah, it was Ice-T.
It was Ice T. Have Ice T come out and play Gears of War. Like, why?
Just because he does a
I
voice
don't
of
want
one
to see,
character.
like, I don't want to see him play Gears of War. I want to see Cliff Bleszinski. Like,
Cliffy B come out.
like
and
it's
do
great that you guys can pay Usher to get on stage and do Dance Central 2 for a quarter of your press conference, but
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want a concert. I want you to just show me what you need to show me.
Yeah. Show us what your plans are. Don't I mean.
Don't be like,
Put
hey,
some
here's
some
Usher.
flair on it. Put some flair on it, right? Like we don't want it to just be guy with a PowerPoint and a clicker going,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. But we don't want to see we don't need 10 minutes of this.
Don't distract
Yeah.
from the Xbox One
Yeah.
by having it be an Usher concert. Or I can't remember who that not Amy Winehouse girl was that came out that one time, and I was like, Microsoft really likes bringing famous people to these things.
Well, yeah, because famous people sell stuff, right?
Although the Beatles rock band, the
Beatles rock band
show
was
up
good.
on my local news because it was like, hey, here's Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. You don't get to see them all the time.
Yeah, no, and you may not get to see him for much longer. Yeah,
But yeah, so like focus on the game and gamers.
yes,
And since you've already like stepped in the hornet's nest enough with the TV
Yeah.
sports stuff, Call of Duty dogs.
Call of Duty dog.
I would ignore all of that and not even mention it.
Well, and I mean, they're going to talk about Call of Duty because Call of Duty is one of those
Yeah.
franchises that sold a shitload of Xbox 360s.
But I would literally like, if I were in charge, I would put Call of Duty at the end of the press conference with an extra long trailer, and you have the guy walk out and introduce it and go away.
yeah.
That's all I would do.
That's definitely.
So
That's what they did at the other one too.
So what could? No, he talked for a long time.
Hey,
about
he
that
drug
trailer.
on about that trailer. He's like, I'm gonna try to make this quick, and then you didn't.
Lie to me. So what could Xbox do to make you happy? One thing.
Other than fix Xbox Live, right? If they could come out and say,
Try to make it not the opposite of
not
what
the
makes
opposite of what I
you
just
mad.
said. I don't know. I mean, I like my 360. I would like to see, like I said, the compatibility between the Xbox Mini and that. I don't know. Maybe surprise us with a streaming service similar to Gaikai. Like, maybe somebody bought OnLive, right?
Yeah, but
But it wasn't Microsoft. But if they have their own streaming service that's going to compete with Sony's, that would be really neat.
Microsoft Cloud, which is all I've been hearing about.
Yeah,
since
so
they
maybe
talked about Windows 8.
they'll talk about some features
It's
like
in
that.
the cloud.
Yeah. Well, maybe some cross-save compatibility or cross-play compatibility between Windows 8 and the Xbox One, since
That'd be cool.
they're both running the Windows 8 kernel. So I could see that would be not
Easier.
entire. Yeah, it would be more feasible than say cross-play between a 360 and a PC. So something like that, like more because Microsoft is the PC company, like that's more PCs run Windows than they do run Linux and whatever. I think that they should leverage that. They should say, okay, you've got this awesome gaming PC. Your buddy has an Xbox One. Why don't you guys play together? Regardless of how you feel about controller versus keyboard and mouse for a control scheme, I think that would be really neat to be able to pit PC players versus Xbox One players, and that would also broaden the audience for those kinds of games, competitive or not. And if you own the game on both systems, you can then do your cross save, right? Like you can use the same save state from both
Yeah,
systems.
that'd be cool. Get it out of the cloud.
So yeah, because hey, Microsoft has a cloud. Let's use that cloud.
They really want us to.
That's right. So what would make you theoretically want to buy an Xbox 360?
Well,
an Xbox One?
not buy.
Well,
but
would make you
be happy.
Other than the gaffs.
Okay, so a few years ago there was this thing called the PlayStation hack, and remember PSN was down for a month and a half.
Yeah, it was a good 4 weeks at least.
And it was right before E3. It was most of the month of May and half part of April, I think.
It was a good chunk of.
It was a good chunk of the spring. Anyway, and at that E3 press conference, we had like the opening montage, and then Jack Tretton, the guy that runs Sony Computer Entertainment America, walked out and said like, "Hey, we messed up. Like, we get it. Like, we didn't tell you guys when we should have told you. We, it wasn't as secure as we thought it was. All this stuff, and we're gonna do better, and we're gonna earn your trust back, and we're going to do all this great stuff, and it was really quick.
And then it was PlayStation Plus gives you free games.
Yeah, it was. Well, that was the one that's when they announced PlayStation
Yeah.
Plus. Instant Game Collection came later, but they basically came out and said like, we're sorry, we effed up. It was really quick. It wasn't the keynote of their press conference.
No, it was like the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then they got into all the cool stuff.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna bring it back, and we're gonna show you why. I highly doubt Microsoft will do that, but what I would really like to see is I'd like to see Don Matrick walk out on stage, and whatever PR or press release person normally writes his speeches, it needs to be someone else, and he just needs to go, look, I know you guys don't like it has to be connected to
you have to connect it to the internet
once
and
every
all this, that,
day.
and the other.
We know you don't like this used game stuff. We know you don't like this. We know you don't like that. We get it. Like, we stepped in the hornet's nest, and it's a bad problem. And we're going to try and fix it. But they're not even going to try and fix it because this is the system they're going with.
Yeah,
They've made that clear.
More accessible, maybe, or
No.
they'll use some sort of some terminology that's kind of vague. But
like he's like, he should just say like, we get that this is bad. We understand. Now here's the reasons you're going to want an Xbox.
Yeah, and then show you
The admission that the plan that we are going with is not popular.
Yeah,
is important. Very important, and I think Microsoft won't do that.
No, but that'd be
because
nice if they did
this
come
is
out
the
and say.
company that stuck behind Vista forever.
Yeah, in fact, they made you buy Vista so you could play Halo 2 on the PC.
Yeah, so they're not going to do this, I think, but they should. They
should say something along the lines of, we know this is unpopular, but because we're doing all this stuff, we can then give you this content and then like this big exclusive content dump.
Like we get that he should just come out, and there's a lot of stuff they have to apologize for, but
I don't think they have to apologize for anything. It's their business; they can do what they want. Their consumers will not like it, but
no. This is some weird ass thought process in America that is like, it's a corporate thing. They don't need to apologize for anything. It's their business. They're making money. Blah 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 blah. Guess what? Here's the thing. They are only responsible to two people: their shareholders
and their customers.
Their shareholders want all this crap because it's going to make them all a bunch of money.
Yes.
Their customers are very upset about it. I mean, as evident by the vocal, it could be a vocal minority.
You saw the internet blow up, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw that.
It could be a vocal minority, but people are upset.
Yes. And rightfully so, but like I said, after E3, Sony may come out and say, hey, there is some stuff. And all this crap will happen to Sony too.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Sony right now. And Sony's not the person in the crosshairs. So as a business, public relations does not deal with your shareholders.
No.
Screw them.
They deal with the public.
They deal with the public. And this E3 press conference isn't for the shareholders. It is for the public.
Yeah.
So in this message, he needs to say like, sorry, we understand that we're kind of moving away from you guys with all this TV integration and everything. Yeah. We're sorry that we're having all this restrictions and the online connectivity, all this stuff. But here's why you're going to want an Xbox.
Yeah.
They do that, they at least have my attention.
Yeah.
And my respect. They're not going to.
No, probably not.
Because I didn't think Jack Tretton would get out on stage and say, sorry, we effed up after the PSN hack. I thought they would just sweep it under the rug and be like, we're going to move forward. And they didn't do that. They actually came out and said, we effed up. And they went a lot further than I thought they needed to go to make up for that.
Yeah. So.
So Xbox is tomorrow
It's Monday morning.
in the morning.
I think I looked it up on like my DVR, like my channel guide, and I think it's at like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
our time.
Yeah, everyone's pissed at Spike because Spike is running it on TV, and
Spike's
they're
only
not running the Sony one.
Yeah, no, they're not even. They're showing EA and Microsoft. That's it.
Yeah.
They're not showing anybody else.
And it's a strictly business decision for them because the Sony happens in prime time.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're running like episodes of stuff that's been on forever. They're just showing reruns.
Well, Microsoft has a lot of money, and they're going to throw a lot of money
Well,
at
yeah.
advertising for the Xbox One.
They will.
You are not, as a gamer and a person that watches the show, you're not going to see any of that money. People that watch Ellen and people that, go to things like MSN.com and Yahoo are going to see that money, but people like us are not going to see a lot of that money. Just because they're going to do the same thing they did with the Kinect. I mean, I hardly saw Kinect commercials before it came out, but once someone pointed out to me like, dude, tune into Oprah, and I was like, wow, it's on every commercial break. They're like, yeah, they're really drilling this thing home.
Oh yeah, the midday TVs, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll see it.
So Microsoft is spending a lot of money, and a lot of that money is going to Spike.
Yeah.
Spike is also doing like special daily updates from E3, from Microsoft at E3 and stuff like that.
And they're doing like, I know they're doing a
reaction
reaction show between the EA and Microsoft press conferences.
And don't get me wrong, if Sony had that money and was paying that money to Spike,
they have that
Spike would do
money.
the
They
exact
just don't
same
want to
thing.
spend it.
Yeah.
Sony
understands that like, who
if
watches
they
Spike?
believe their message is stronger, so they don't have to shove it down your throat.
Yeah.
So that means now I'm just going to have to watch the Sony and all those other press conferences online.
You can watch it through your PS3.
I guess
And
I
your
will.
Vita.
I guess I would be able to. I would be able to stream it after the fact, right? Because I won't be home at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Well, for Xbox?
Or no, or for whatever time it's going to be on.
Oh,
I may
PS3's
not
at
be
like
home.
7 o'clock at night, I think.
Oh,
our
I
time.
might be home then.
It's prime time. And Sony's doing that because that's what they've always done.
Yeah, well, and they're the closer.
Yeah, damn right.
So
Don't forget to spay and neuter Pokemon. We'll be back next week with E3 reaction.
Yes.
Hopefully everything went well. Hopefully everything went well for Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, and everyone else there. And
Ubisoft.
hopefully I get to see more of DuckTales Remastered because, oh my god.
Oh yeah, they're going to have that. Capcom's also supposed to have a secret surprise.
And that Castle of Illusion game.
Oh, they doing a Castle of Illusion remastered
They
now
are
too?
doing Castle of Illusion Remaster.
Oh, god damn it.
So Sega's doing it, so I'm like, I'm down. But the Castle of Illusion Remaster isn't like never mind. We'll talk about it later. Bye, guys.
Right.